Hi, my name is Marcel-André Casasola Merkle. I'm a board game designer since 1997 and developed about 12 board games and published about 12 board games. And since a few years I'm interested in video games too. I'm working at my day job at the Coding Monkeys, and now, tonight I'm talking about my night job, because I always wanted to make little video games too. Back in the 90s, that was too complicated for me. You didn't have the tools and stuff like that. At the moment, I'm working with Xcode and Objective-C on daytimes, and with Unity for my other projects. Well, the years I started in January doing my own games too, and I started with an inverse platformer called Draft and worked on it for about half a year. And then I saw, okay, this game will take a long time to get finished, and I wanted to have something finished. I wanted to go out there. And I had difficulties, technical difficulties too, and I heard there will be Unity for 4.3 with 2D support. So I thought, okay, take this project aside and work on something very, very slim and very short that you can do in about a few weeks. And that is this project. And last week I filmed a little trailer. It's not finished yet. The game is out since 1 month, 6 months, and now I'm doing the trailer. You'll see, it's a little bit crazy how I thought about this game and what I wanted to do. That's actually the cellar of the house where I live. It's very creepy, like Blair Witch Project. I always liked it, so I thought filming there would be nice. I did this in about half an hour, so it's not perfect. I wanted to make a short game and an episodical game, so I could do the first episode, put it on the App Store, and work on the next episode, put it on the App Store, and so and so. And I did that. The first episode only lasted about 5 to 10 minutes in playing time, and then I delivered 3 episodes. Today, the last episode is in review, and I hope it will be confirmed and published today or tomorrow. What was the thought behind this? I thought maybe the game can be sort of a Kickstarter of its own. So you put it on the App Store, it's not finished yet, but you get a little bit of income so you can work on the other parts of the game. That didn't really work out, but it was an interesting experience. Because the game was so short when I published it, I decided not to go to the press, tell everybody, but first only use my Twitter, in my German Twitter account, Zeitweise. Here I have about 11,000 followers, so I think that's nice to get the word out. And I have a special account in English for my games, that's Sidewise, it's only about 400 followers. That worked quite well. On the first day I had about 300 copies sold, but the game was too short, so nobody told other people, hey, you have to buy this. I tried to put some interaction with me into the game, so I did things like this. I can show you in Unity, like this. What is this? Menu. Stuff like a Twitter button and a web page button, so you can tweet right out of the game. Because I wanted to get the people involved. I wanted them to tell me what did they like, how do they think the story will evolve. I got some replies, but not enough to make something out of it. Okay, a little bit about my background, where I was coming from. I did this game in Unity. Why? I think Unity is a very good tool for prototyping, for getting things done very fast, and I wanted to make it very fast. As you see, I can show you the first scene of the game. It's very flat. It's flat design 2D games with. That's a little bit dark. Okay. Very simple elements, interface elements, because I wanted to tell a story. The graphics are very cut out, like paper cuts, and quite simple to make. Usually I'm coding a lot in Unity. I started with JavaScript, and then now I'm trying out C#. I think C# is JavaScript. It's similar to the JavaScript coding, but a little bit more complicated because you have to do other things too. But everybody says it's better, and maybe it might be. So, but this project had to be very fast, and so I decided to use Playmaker. I will show you how it works. For the 2D aspect, because Unity 4.3 was not released yet, I used TK2D, Toolkit 2D. That's a very nice addition to Unity because you can do everything very easy. For the graphics itself, I used Photoshop. So, this is a scene. If you look into the scenes, you will see they are not very refined. We have here in the background the structure of the paper. I wanted to have a paper look, and it's there, but I didn't even try to center it so it looked better. I threw all the elements in I liked, so, and I could always hit the play button and see, do I like it, don't I like it? That was a little bit of a problem, because if you are testing with this approach, you always have to test the whole scene. You can't go to the end of the scene because everything is organic and you don't have any debug code. So I tried to make the scenes not so big so I could handle it. The first start was in Photoshop. I have one file with all the graphics in it, and that is Photoshop. Yeah, and I got images from the internet and drew over it to get fast results. There's all the graphics in it. And there's a new feature in Photoshop CC. It might come in handy for you. If you see there on the right, all the layers of the Photoshop are called chair PNG or box PNG, door PNG, and stuff like that. And there's a new possibility here. Where is it? Generate, and then image assets. And if you mark this arrow and save the file, it is making a folder with all cropped images of the layers.
Das spart mir Stunden meines Lebens.
Yeah, that's very, very nice. I can show it to you. The file is called AutoSlice, and then you have AutoSlice assets and have all the files cropped in here.
Is it a native Photoshop function?
Yeah,
or is it
it's native Photoshop, but it's only the newest version. It's the CC version.
Okay.
The CS6 doesn't know that. That was very nice because, yeah, you spare so much time. Then going back to Unity, I used to get 2D. You have sprite collections here that are sprite atlases. And I can open one. And you see here all the images. I can take the images and drag them into it here, and then I press commit, and you have the image referenced in the sprite atlas. It creates an atlas that you can look at too. This little thing here is auto-created every time. And if I draw something on the file that is called arrow PNG, Unity loads it without doing anything. So that's very fine. On this column I can do things like collider types and where's the center of the graphics, stuff like that. I think Unity 4.3 does this too, but I hadn't the possibility to use it then. You can do animations. That's nice too. Open an editor. That's a hamster. You can't see anything. Okay. I did very simple animations with several frames. That's a whale. Only has 2 frames and can flatten with its pins. That's a nice part. And now I can put files into the scene. That's very simple too. I open a game object and create a TK2D sprite. And then I have my sprite collection, say this will be scissors, and now I have it in the scene. That's a very nice approach for this project, because this project is about storytelling. It's like you could do it in Flash too. Yeah, it's about storytelling. Now I think, oh, it would be nice to demonstrate this, to show there's scissors, and I have it in the scene, and I can look at it here. Also, I did everything in 2D. I wanted a little bit 3D effects, so I didn't use an autographic camera, but yeah, well, I used an autographic camera, but I used this 3D space. No, that's a 3D camera with autographic mode. So you have parallax scrolling for free. You can go into the picture or out of the picture. That was a nice effect. I really tried to use everything that's for free, and because I think I could have done it in Flash, I could have done it in Objective-C, but because I've done it in Unity 3D, I wanted to have the 3D in the game too. And in the later scenes, I use it for tilting the camera, stuff like that, for a little bit greater effects. So I said I did very little programming. That's why I used Playmaker. Playmaker is a state machine. can see it here at the bottom, the button. You have several states of the button. The button can be on, it can be off, it can switch on or switch off, and you have little scripts that can do stuff. Here, and that is very important because it's a little bit of a pain to program in Unity for touch devices. To get the touch, you have to write code for that. If you use Playmaker, you can only say mouse down, and you get the tab. The only thing what you need is a collider on the object that's here, so it can register the tab. What does happen if you have the off state and push the object? Then the state will change to, you see it on the arrow, to this state, and stuff happens. So I'm changing the color of the sprite, and I'm sending events to other objects, and I'm playing the sound and stuff like that. That's quite easy to manage it. State machines can be a problem if you have big projects, because if you have code, you can look into it, you can understand it. If I'm searching something here, that can get quite ridiculous, and sometimes I have problems to see why is it behaving like that. That leads me to another point: source control. Maybe people don't do it in Unity, but I think it's important. You can. I used Git to manage my code, and you can do it in Unity too. You go to the build settings. No, I forgot it. There are settings. Editor. Maybe.
Project settings.
Editor settings. Yeah. No, asset serialization. Yeah. Normally it makes binaries. That's not so good for software, but you can put it to text. And then I used, and now I have to tell that's maybe Mac only, source tree to manage my project. This is just an interface for Git, and I can make commits and say, okay, freeze the state of the project here, so I can always go back. And that is important because you really can mess up Unity scenes. Especially if you're working like this, putting things into it, and then, wow, it doesn't work anymore, the scene. What do? I start from scratch now. I can say, okay, that was the last part that worked, I can check it out and start again. So you don't lose so much time just because you messed something up. Well, that helped a lot to get this project done. I think in the first part, for the first part, I needed 4 weeks to do it. And I'm only working at weekends and in the evening. And then I released the first part, I tweeted about it, it went quite well. I published the second part 2 weeks later, and you know, if you are doing something for the App Store, you always need this buffer of 1 week because they need time to get your project.
One question, is it really episodic? So do you have really like all 3 weeks as one new episode, or is it more like when you find the time to make the next one?
Yeah, I knew how much time I would have. I had about 12 hours a week for this project. So 24 hours to make, maybe not that much, to make the next episode. And I always extended the game. The game had always a finite end, so the game always ended with a dialogue. Yeah, this is. Did I tell you that's about dreams? No.
No.
Okay. It's enough about dreams. And there's a nice story too, I have to tell it. But it always ended, okay, this is how the dream ended, but it could continue, and what do you think, how could it continue? Or sometimes I put at the end of the app a puzzle. Yeah, about the app. Oh, it's an app about dream. And it's an app about a dream where I dream, I have to write an app.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah, it's a little bit Inception style. You are a companion to me who's dreaming this dream. And I tell you how I dreamt this dream, and you have to solve little puzzles to see the next part, how the dream would go.
With audio, or is it just text and echo?
It's with, I'll show you a scene. Maybe I know which scene I show. This one. There should be audio. I don't have any audio. Jetzt gibt's Audio. Jetzt gehe ich nochmal in die Audio-Settings.
Vielleicht musst du Unity neu starten.
Unity neu starten jetzt? Well, I can tell you another thing. During development, development normally doesn't take you 2 weeks. So during development, new versions come out. Not only of Unity, new versions of TK2D, new versions of Playmaker, new versions of Photoshop, but they are not very relevant. And stuff breaks. Yeah. I had this problem. I had this problem. Why is it black? Should it be black? If you have a 2D game, you have layers, and they are ordered. And one day I installed a new update of the TK2D system, and all the ordering was broken because the plugin was faulty. But it's a very nice developer who does it, Unicron software, and I told him, and he told me what to do, and I had to go into his code and to fix it, but it worked. But yeah, that's a problem, that you have to be up to date with all the programs, and if you are working messy like that, that can be a real challenge. You have sound now? No. Okay, I can sing to it. Here is a puzzle. You are trapped in the whale, in the whale's stomach, and you can go over here, because in the line buttons appear, and then you find the way out. And where's the way out of the whale? Everybody knows. Yeah. So you are going to through these scenes and get new puzzles and new moves and yeah. Well, I didn't tell you all the sounds come from FreeSound.org. It's a good resource. I didn't want to have all the work to write down who did which sound because that would be a list of 200 people. So I only took sounds that are under license where you don't have to do it. That's not because I don't want to mention the people, but I would have taken me one day to not say. So, but I was talking about something. How the app went, what I did. Here I have a nice graphic for you. That are the sales figures. I'm very open about it, but because why not? That was the first day 145. That's nice. You can go up to position 86 or such of all apps, not only games in the App Store. And then you have a little bit of a spotlight in the lower categories like puzzles and adventures. I put it into puzzles and adventures. But that was the Twitter spike only. I did the app in German and English to be international too. But I think German was important too because it was very story heavy and my English is not that good, you see. Then it went down really quickly. So I thought, okay, I'm doing now the first update, the sales figures might go up, but the problem in the App Store is visibility. And in the first days you get featured automatically. I didn't get featured by Apple, that's very good if you do, but you get featured automatically if you are new and sell some games. And then in the third week, I think, I made the first update. And then I sold, after the first update then came out, I sold 6 and 9 and 3 and 3 and 7. So if you are not speaking about your game, nobody will buy it again if you don't get word of mouth to mouth. And I think it's hard to get the word of mouth with this game because it wasn't finished. I did another update, that's this little spike, the 14, 16, 10 report, because I told everybody about the new update. I wrote in some indie forums and stuff like that. And then I did an article on my website, and that's very nice because more people read this article than I sold apps. I can't show it to you because I don't have internet. But it was a little bit of a post-mortem. That's ridiculous because the game wasn't even finished, and I did a post-mortem. The title was, if my game would be a TV show, it would have been cancelled. And I put it on Reddit in the devblog forums, and I got 900 clicks. I think people, they like sales figures. And I told people that, okay, what to do now? I can't do more updates because it costs me money. When I started the game, that's interesting. Here I wrote the time I needed and how much money I made a day. That's the whole sum, 333 euro. So I have worked 106 hours. That's 3.15 euro. Koalition is talking about the Mindestlohn. That's much higher, but it's okay. But this figure wasn't always this low. It was, in fact, like €5 at the beginning. But every update I make, it gets down and down and down. So I said, okay, I wanted to tell a story. I had a story in mind from the beginning. And I wanted to make it like as a test to see how does the App Store behave and stuff like that. It's not important that I put much money into the project. And I said, okay, if it really rocks, I'm doing updates and updates and updates and updates. And if it doesn't, I'm telling the story to the end. And that's the update I will release this week. That's the end of the story. And that's the third update. I think it's a nice end to the app, but there's a problem too that you don't know. It's very hard to get people back if they played it. I think everybody of you know it. If you have a mobile and you download a game, you're playing it, and then you forget it immediately. And it's much harder with the App Store now because new games don't get featured anymore. Updates don't get featured. And you have now automatic updates. So the people don't even realize that it's the next episode. And so I tried a trick. Somebody told me that this is possible and that is nice. I changed the icon. So people can see stuff happened. I think that was a quite nice trick to do it.
Did you ever think about making something like episode 4 or something like that on the icon? So that people like know
I
that
think that Apple forbids it.
But you can also change the name of the app.
I can change the name of the app, but I want to.
Episode 3 or 2.
Yeah, that's right. I think the icon is the most iconic on the splash screen, so that's okay. I really hope that people will come back to the app because I think the ending that I thought of is really nice. And now that the app is finished, I'm doing the trailer, and I will make my press kit and will write to some people because I think, okay, now I have a product. I think I could do it. Yeah, let's go to question.
Do you get any mechanism to find out who's playing more of the game? Who's continuing playing the game often? Or are you just knowing the person downloaded it and there's no channel back that you know people are continuing to follow the story?
Well, I did some things. I counted the updates.
Mm-hmm.
That's the update figure. 2018 there were 2 updates, so 440. That's important because I saw 612 apps, so 540 people updated. The only thing I know is the app is still on anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't kill it from everywhere. More I don't know. Well, the Twitter reactions, I get a little bit feedback, but not really. But I didn't put anything in it.
So you didn't do something like when someone finished the episode or the game, so send feedback now, and you put in a hashtag that they ended this episode.
They always get a Twitter button at the end,
Okay.
so they can write if they want.
Do you have a hashtag for?
Yeah, True Dreams. I had a hashtag for every episode: True Dreams 1, True Dreams 2, True Dreams 3, and the feedback was going down too. Yeah. I could have put code in it, so it links my website and stuff like that, but that would have cost me more than I think I got out of it.
Okay.
Well, at the end, I think it was a very interesting experience for me. Now I have a product. That's not that bad because I always, when I make a big game, I can make it for free can put some hints in it to, there's a new game, maybe. I don't know what will happen, but yeah, it was good for me.
Do you tell people at the end of the game that it's an episodic game and that future updates will like increase the story? Or
I put it in the description of iTunes, but
there's nothing like
nobody.
At the end, check back in 3 weeks because then there will be another episode or something like that. So do people actually know that the game? The question is, do people actually know somewhere from the game that it's episodic?
And, I think many people didn't get it, but it's explicitly written in the game. I will update this app when I get feedback. But they don't read it. It's okay. Well, now I can sell a real product. That's much easier. Well, the international figures was of this 612 about 50 copies, and not in the German speaking part.
But I think this is because Apple features your product only if you are from Germany in the German iTunes store.
Not because I'm from Germany, but because my Twitter followers are from Germany and they bought it, and so I went up, and then they featured
because it wasn't featured, because if you feature, the numbers are higher still.
Well, you have different types of featuring.
And like I mean, like name of the big feature, which is like
then you sell 300 copies.
But from my experiences, when we released our game, so it was from Germany, and it was in English and in German, and like everything was in English. So the start screen, everything, graphics, everything was in English, but it was only we had only figures from Germany.
Yeah, but that's who knows you? People from Germany.
No, nobody knows. No.
Yeah, but you have relatives. Maybe they bought the
have Android handy, so this wasn't okay. So.
But as far as I know, it doesn't matter where the developer comes from. The features.
We had not feature-wise, but we had the same experience. Like if you don't get featured by something big outside of Germany, the biggest sales will come out of Germany because that's where people know you. You post it on Facebook and 400 people see it. 300 of them are German. And like we had it for all our games.
Yeah, but isn't getting an Apple feature.
Getting the Apple feature is like sending it to the right people and they feature it or they don't. If it matches their taste or it doesn't. I mean, like you guys probably know the people who you can send it to. So that's actually like a thing that I don't know if you didn't send them things yet, but if not, you should probably send it over to them. Because I think it's quite feature worthy for them.
The best thing with this project was I lost money, but I knew in front of it I wouldn't lose much money. And the experience, to get the experience before you are doing a really big project where you are losing very big money, that's priceless.
Yeah, I have a question that's non-money related, which is still...
I only respond to money related.
Yeah, people ask me, like, can we do more business model talks? And this is a business model talk now. I'm like, what's the difference between making and releasing a digital versus a board game?
It's completely different.
What's different besides I'm typing stuff into a computer now and I don't have to wait for a year for it to ship? So what's the difference in design?
Computer games are much more work. Because if you do a board game, you only need to think up a very good system. But if you have a system, you don't have to work on it because the publisher works on it.
Mm-hmm.
With you, if you're a good designer. Here I had to do everything by myself. I had to think up the story, I had to wire the state machines, I had to select the sound files, everything. I think video games make more work, but I think you have to be skilled to make a good board game. It's not that easy to make something because in video games you have so many genres where you can work. If you want to tell a story, you can make a story game. If you like puzzles, you can invent puzzles. If you like board games, you can even make a board game. That's not that easy in board games.
Why didn't you make a board game?
Because I
Edition
made
board game.
15 board games and wanted something for a change. And I couldn't do it in board game story. That's not possible. I could do a movie.
So the not telling the story. That would be a idea to have something interactive that is a story.
Would have been my next question, because it feels like a story. It feels way less like a game for me, coming from
Yeah, it is.
a mechanic standpoint.
I think, that were not the biggest puzzles, but yeah, you're right. It's about 6-7 puzzles in it, maybe 10. And it's more like a story. And I approached it like a story because the most important part was for me the ending. The ending fits, that there's something that makes it worse, because I knew it would be short and all the puzzles wouldn't make it.
But I feel it's really like in the zeitgeist, because if you look at things like Gone Home or Device 6 or all these kind of story games which now come out, I think are like a little bit in the same genre, which maybe is like an own genre. I mean, did you play Device 6?
No, not yet.
Device 6 is very similar with this kind of very typo kind of storytelling, short sentences, very to the point. So I actually really like them. I think there are a lot of people who now discover these kind of games and who don't say it's not a game because it's mainly focused on having a story.
There are two things. The first thing, why did I want to make a video game was because I could make what I wanted. If you make a board game, you have to do something that gets published. And the publishers make board games that are like
I mean,
every other board game.
you can't do the same thing, like release it on your own. I mean, it's
No.
possible now, right?
That's
You don't have to
much
release it to
more
like
work.
10,000 copies,
And
1,000
it
copies.
costs very much to publish a game, a physical game. It costs too much. And Unity is free. When I started, Unity wasn't free for iPhone. So I lost money. And the other thing, what was similar to making a board game was I was working with the restrictions. When you make board games, you always work with the restrictions. The brain have to do all the calculations in a board game. You don't have a computer that can do it for you. And here I had the time restrictions. I had to strip everything that I could strip. And I like those tasks. That's always interesting to set your restrictions and work along this path.
Do you think you could have sold more if you would have made more content, or if you invested more time in it, or what was kind of the...
I could have made a much bigger, much fancier, much better app,
Yeah.
but could I sell more? I don't know. I think what the biggest hole in my project is marketing. I didn't do any marketing.
But you're doing it afterwards. You're doing it for the next version. So for the next version, you're trying to talk with.
Yeah, but this is a game that is 6 weeks old. Who wants to write about a game that is 6 weeks old? I don't know.
If they haven't heard about it before,
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem.
That's an opportunity too. I think that's very different to other markets, because the iPhone market is so big, you can't lose customers with anything. Yeah? Because there are always other customers who didn't heard about your product. If I would make it free now for a week and there are 20,000 people who download it, there are millions that didn't even know that the game did exist. And I was thinking about, sorry that I'm talking about pricing, but I was thinking about a little trick, and I didn't do it because the game was so short, and that was Supporters Saturday. And I want to do it in the future. That is up the pricing on Saturday and tell everybody, if you want to support me, you can pay $5 for this game on Saturday. And the other days it's only $1. Because I think there are people that want to support you and want that you make a longer game and stuff like that. Especially if you only have 300 or 600 fans.
Don't you think it would be more practical to have an in-app purchase for support than a date?
Why would you even do that? I mean, that has failed so often. Like this whole like, I'm gonna make my app expensive for a day, or I'm gonna put an in-app purchase of like $10. This has been tried and failed and failed and failed like so often. I haven't even seen it work once on the history of the App Store.
It's more like you tell everybody has supporters. Some have 10 or some have 100.
Supporters saw your game, your supporters bought your game,
Yeah,
liked your
that's
game,
right.
and they forgot about it. The thing is, you have
That's
to
right.
find like a big number of people who you don't know yet.
No, I think now it's no option. But at the start, I could have said, okay, if you want to support me with this game, I have to do more episodes. You can buy it, if you buy it on Monday, you can buy it for €5. If you want to buy it for €1, buy it now. Why not?
Can you actually have a in-game purchase that is not doing anything? No.
No.
Yeah, it just unlocks a value.
Yeah, it's very easy. I can unlock one section.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Get a new title screen or something like that.
not even that. It doesn't matter.
I mean, 11,000 Twitters is a lot of. It's quite impressive, and I'm really surprised that it only leads to like 150 sales. Do you have like a very specific kind of board game community as a follower?
Pardon?
Your community, your Twitter followers, do they come from? These are all hardcore board gamers, or
They're more netizens, and many don't have much money. And the first thing I always get if I talk about my apps is, why isn't it for Android? And then I always think, yeah, but who would buy it? Maybe there would be people, but I have to put in so much money that it works on Android, and not be, with Unity I can make an Android version now, but does it work? And to have angry customers that say, oh, your version doesn't work.
on my fucking 4-year-old mobile phone?
Does it really make that much problems with the modern versions of Unity to have still this problems?
I don't even know, I can't test
Okay.
it. That's
Because
all.
yeah.
If I had a success on iPhone, I would say, okay, now I have Unity, I can do it on Mac, I can do it on PC, I can do it on Android. And that has been done with many apps that are made with Unity. But at the moment, I would lose money to make it for Android.
So it's
Or I have angry customers.
okay. So you don't think that it is just a button press to have it on?
If I would make it for free, yes. Because then
So
it works or it doesn't work.
So the point is you lose money because you have to explore how to sell it on.
I have to explore how to sell it, and I have to explore how does it behave on different devices. It's the screen resolution. The screen resolution is made for iPad and iPhone, and I think that's difficult enough because the formats are completely different. And I don't even know which Android devices exist. I think it's very good for bigger projects to go to more platforms, because if you have more platforms, you can sell more. But I would do a PC version, I would do a Linux version, but I don't know how to sell it without putting work into it. Yeah, and if you earn $300, that's a real question.
That's why publishers exist in the same
Yeah.
space, because it is so easy to make a game digitally that way. It's to me felt like it is exactly as easy to make a digital as a physical game, but in a physical game you're normally bound to a publisher and people don't go the indie route. In a digital game, people now realize, hey, we gotta go indie. But you have the same publishers there, they're the same entities. I mean, they even fund it.
Well, I did something similar with a board game. It was only a printed sheet, and you had to cut out the cards. And I made about the same money. And I put a little bit less work into it. Yeah.
Can I ask one more money-related question before we finish up? How's the process of coming up with the game, coming up with the content, the systems different from your last more like mechanical focused board game and this more of a story-based puzzling experience? How was the different for you?
In the design process?
Yeah.
Well, it's about the restrictions. I wanted to make something very quick, and I had this little story idea in my head. And I thought, what was the simplest thing you can do that is not completely stupid? And that is 2D planes that flow around with a little bit of a story arc and simple puzzles. And I can put in puzzles that I like, everything what I come up with. The other game that I had that was a very precise mechanical idea, but that means you need this content to make this game. I need the puzzles, and every puzzle is some minutes, and then I can count out the minutes and see how long is the game. And the prototype I had a prototype that was about 10 minutes long, 15 minutes long. I didn't want to waste it. And
So what you say is like for you, creating the content in the story-based game was actually faster than creating the content for a mechanics-based game?
It was very special with this game because it was a dream. And in a dream everything can happen. If you have a story game like home, you're writing the story for a year. So it was a very special case. That's why it is a game about a dream.
And I think you found a very, very smart solution for the presentation of it. So without having creating too much content to support it, but still having like all the atmosphere and everything. So I think it's a really good decision for this kind of small scope.
And I think you have to play it in the dark, and that's a good time for releasing the game because the days get darker. Yeah. Especially the end. You should play the end shortly before you go to bed. I even say this in the app at the beginning now, in the last update. That was interesting too, that the people don't put on their headphones. I always thought, oh my god, these apps always say I have to put on my headphones. That's ridiculous, and I didn't put it in. But then people said to me, wow, there's sound, and it's quite important for a moody game. So that are the little things that you learn from a project like that without losing much money. Okay.
Does the timer in the very end, like 1, 2, 3, 4, does something happen when you leave it very long, or
okay?
Just count them?
That was a little bit mean for me because in this update nothing happens. You can wait for years. But in the new update, in the last episode, it doesn't matter how long you wait. And I can tell you, if you wait a little bit longer, you get an extra scene that people don't see that are very quick.
Okay.
But I didn't make it that you have to wait a week or such.
With modern cell phone battery times?
Oh, well, you can put out the app and it counts.
Oh, okay.
You can even manipulate your date and time. And you should watch the app closely when it comes to 1,337. That's a little goodie. Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any more questions?
I have something about Unity, but we can talk.
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I'd say like let's do that over like beers and pizza. Thanks for the talk. I figured we can also put this in the user group in like